Bison women's basketball played two of the best teams in the league this past weekend, lost them both, but the games were very close. Great basketball here at the Benson Bunker Fieldhouse. We welcome Maren Walseth to talk about it. And Coach, you guys competed, have to applaud your team and yourself and your staff for two great games. Even though they were losses, there were some positives in these games, weren't there?
Yeah, there were. I was very happy with the effort and the energy and the focus that we played with. That had been kind of up and down over the course of the season, and being able to string a couple great practices with two great efforts in games really gives me confidence moving forward.
And these were two of the best teams in the league who had created quite a bit of separation at their place in these games. This was the second matchup with these two teams. You really closed the gap against both teams, didn't you?
Yeah, and I don't want to take moral victories out of it, but certainly the effort and the attention to detail and following the game plan and the effort put forth was at a much higher level.
Well, let's look at the league and see how things shake out after the dust settled this weekend. USD is in a real good spot now, 9-2 after the road win here in Fargo, 19-5 overall. NDSU is now in position. They still host USD moving forward. Western Illinois won here, then took a very tough loss at Omaha. What do you think of the standings?
I think we've talked about it every week. It just keeps getting more and more competitive, and certainly anybody can win on any given night.
You're kind of a win from third or a loss from seventh. That's how tight it is right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and that makes every game important, and then certainly getting us ready to go on the road tomorrow to play at Oral Roberts on Wednesday is a big game for us.
Let's get your thoughts on the games passed this weekend. Friday, you lost to Western Illinois, obviously 66-60. Very tightly contested game, though, very competitive game. Down 35-32 at half. This game was just back and forth the whole way, wasn't it?
Back and forth. It was a game of runs, and basketball is often a game of runs, and unfortunately, they had the run to end the game.
They have two nice players, Ashley Luke, Sophie Reichelt. They combined for 35 points and 30 rebounds, and they were very good in Macomb against you as well, weren't they, those two?
They were. They are a very paint-oriented team, but a versatile team at the same time. And at the end of the day, I was very proud of Holly and Liz for each getting 14 rebounds, but they had the ball at the end, and their run.
There you see a long three right there. And let's talk about Liz Keena a little bit. We just saw a tough hoop from her. There she is, getting some work done as well. 10 points, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks in this particular game. That's a nice stat stuffer there.
It is. She's playing with a little bit more confidence each and every day, and just being more sure of herself and more aggressive. And certainly you saw that with the 14 rebounds.
Well, so this game, the final was 66-60 against Western Illinois, who's in the top half of the league, certainly in that top three at this point. Ashley Luke, a very good player, the preseason player of the year. So there's that game, Coach. You move into Sunday against South Dakota, a very solid team. As we mentioned in the standings, they're in first place. And what do you think makes them so good?
They're versatile as well, and they've got two very good post players, solid, strong players who eat up a lot of area in the paint and demand a lot of attention, but also they've got Seacamp and Contreras on the outside, who are dual threat kids, being able to shoot the three or get themselves to the rim. So they're a tough guard for not only us, but a lot of teams in our conference.
Okay, so you're down 23 in this game. We see South Dakota, they got off to a really good start, much like the game in Vermilion.
Yes, they threw that. I'd say that we maybe threw the first punch, but certainly they got themselves going at the end of the second half. We kind of had a little come to Jesus meeting at halftime where the team decided and really talked about there are controllables that we have control over: our communication, our effort, our execution. And I think that was the difference that we saw as the second half built.
You cut it to 16 at half. You just kind of chipped away. When you get down that far, you kind of have to win in segments, don't you? You got it to 16 at half. Then you got it down inside 10 by that second media timeout in the second half. Is that the way you were approaching it?
Yes, we talk about 2 points at a time. It's a stop and a score, a stop and a score, a stop and a score. Every basket is either worth 2 or 3, so let's make them good possessions.
So what changed in this game, do you think? You got it down to one possession here real late in the game. Liz Keena, fantastic again, but what changed in the second half?
I think our players really became a little bit more relaxed. And I know that sounds crazy when you see the pace of which we play, but being a little bit more comfortable, being a little bit more confident, knowing exactly what South Dakota was going to do gave us a little bit more confidence to play how we play. And I think that's what led to us chipping away.
83-79. You saw that miss by Taylor Thunstad. That would have tied the game, so this really did get to be a very, very interesting game towards the end. Down 23, cut it to 2, lose by 4, so lots of positives to take there. And again, Liz Keena, this time she had 5 steals. She had 5 blocks on Friday, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals. What a weekend she had.
She really had a great weekend, and just her growth as a player on the court this season has been tremendous. And I think a lot of that comes from confidence. She's gaining confidence in herself every day. Her teammates are gaining confidence in her because of how she goes to work, and she's just a workhorse. She's going to keep going, keep going, keep going. So I was really happy for her to have the kind of success that she had this weekend, because that ultimately really impacts our team moving forward.
So now you have a road game Wednesday night at Oral Roberts, and discuss their 6'7" post player. She's really playing well right now.
Vicki McIntyre was voted the Summit League Player of the Year for this, or the week, for this last week. So she's certainly feeling very good about herself. Her teammates are really using her well, and she provides a different dynamic as a 6'7" post player who is capable of getting 30 points and 25, 30 rebounds, and I'm not exaggerating. That's the type of impact that she can have.
This is a great opportunity this week, though, isn't it? At Oral Roberts, very tough game. It's always tough on the road, but they're a middle-of-the-pack team, and then Omaha's at the bottom, although they just beat Western Illinois, so they're obviously very capable. But this is an opportunity to maybe make a move in the standings a little bit here, isn't it?
It is, and I'm excited because of the way that we have played the last week. The effort and the determination that we have gives me confidence to go on the road, which is, as we've discussed before, not always an easy place to play, but just the confidence that we have in ourselves because of how we've played this last week will give us more confidence moving into Wednesday night's game.
Best of luck to you, Coach, on the road this week.
Thank you very much.
All right, Wednesday at Oral Roberts. It's a 7 p.m. game. Of course, Jack Michaels will have the call on the Bison Radio Network for you. Saturday, Omaha, here at the Benson Bunker Fieldhouse, 2 o'clock. We will see you there. We'll recap both these games for you next week. Have a great week, everyone.